Welcome back to Cyber Sea of Galilee, DSMME, on July 3rd, the feast of St. Thomas. St. Thomas is an apostle, and you might remember that he is called the doubting apostle for a very good reason. He earned that title very blatantly right there in the face of Christ himself. But before we get to that, let's mention that the apostles were the closest friends of Jesus. They were the ones that he handpicked, so to speak, to follow him, and he saw greatness in them, and he saw in them that they would be able to believe what many other people would not. And so it's a beautiful thing to be an apostle. And we all know also that Thomas had a second name, Didymus, and both those two names are interesting because they actually translate into the twin. Now, whose twin was he? The gospel never tells us, but it would appear he might have been a twin because that's what they called him, kind of double times, which is interesting. But in any case, Thomas was an apostle who had a hard time believing some of the things about the faith, as they all did at different times, but he was outspoken and he had a very logical mind, it would appear. And so when the others were talking about they had seen Christ, and Thomas wasn't there one time, and he goes, I won't believe unless I can see him and put my finger into his side. And so at that moment, don't you know, Christ appears and he says, Thomas, put your finger in my side. We are looking at an image of divine mercy. From this side, from this heart that was open on Calvary, flowed out blood and water. And this is one of the most important gifts that the church has given us, that Christ decided to wait until the 20th century to give to a very broken, very disunified, very a world at great animosity with each other. The divine mercy, Jesus, I trust in you, or in Polish, because he appeared to St. Faustina Kowalska, Jezu ufam Tobie, which was at the bottom of it, that we must trust in him. And I love this picture, and I think about Thomas because he looks like he is pulling back perhaps the garment of his clothing so that his heart can shine through the blood and the water. And Thomas, did he actually put his finger in the side of Christ? I don't know, but he was invited to. Maybe at that moment he decided he really didn't need the visual, the tactile proof for what he did believe. So maybe God called him to a deeper faith. And that Thomas's doubting and then believing again is used by the church many, many times to give us hope for people who will doubt, or to give all of us hope for friends and family who doubt the faith, that all they need is to someday, in some moment of grace, see God, and at that moment say what Thomas said, my Lord and my God. When you receive Holy Communion, pray that. I know I was taught that by the Dominican Sisters when I was a little girl, that when I received, when the priest held up the sacred host and said, this is my body, that my response quietly would be, my Lord and my God. Thomas's response. Blessed feast of the Apostle Thomas, and blessed feast again, because every day is, of divine mercy. Signing off from Cyber Sea of Galilee, DSMME.